Being in a distant relationship is very difficult, okay? I've seen a lot of relationships under my watch fall apart because of distance relationship. Because there are some things that we all got to analyze or know when we are in distant relationship so that the relationship don't really fall apart. But most people do not really know what they're supposed to do, and they think being in a distant relationship is just about the I love the person. But you know, there are a lot of things that goes deep into just I love you, okay? Because love has so many components that most people are yet to realize, and that's why I'm here today to help you see how best we can improve our distance relationship. Because when we are in relationships, because we need to go work, because we need to go to school, we need to do other things for ourselves and for the relationship, we cannot say we're going to stay at just one place our entire lives, okay? Because a lot of things will be falling back, and we need to improve ourselves, we need to educate ourselves, we need to do so many things for ourselves so that it can even help the relationship grow. So if you say that because most distance relationships are falling apart, I'm not going to distance myself from my partner, you probably wouldn't be making it in life, because there's so many things that you need to go and explore. You need to go on adventure to find out the kind of job you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to see, especially when you are a youth. You're supposed to explore more to know what you are capable of doing, so that let's say in your 40s, you'll be able to say that, oh, this is what I'm capable of doing, or this is what I'm good at, so that I specialize on this particular thing. Other than that, you cannot confine yourself in a particular area. Even if you are working, you're supposed to upgrade yourself, or you're supposed to switch organizations or businesses so that you'll be able to make enough money and get that financial freedom and the peace that you actually want. So I decided to come today to talk about how to make your distance relationship work. I've personally been in distance relationship, and so I know what it means. But having gone through all those processes, I later came back and got married to my beautiful wife, which we are living happily as couple. And I want to teach you on what you are supposed to also do to be able to maintain your distance relationship so that it doesn't fall apart. Now, when you are in a distance relationship, you have to identify that the relationship is not one-sided. Okay, I've seen a lot of people come to me to talk to me, and when I see or hear them speak to me, I realize that the relationship is one-sided. You see, when people travel, they actually move on. Most people, when they travel to a very long distance, because of the misconception they've had, or because of what are happening, because of the new opportunities they've been able to explore, they end up finding new partners over that place. And so they will do everything in their capacity not to make the relationship work. And so if you are there, you have to be able to identify that the relationship you are in is not one-sided. Because if it is one-sided, you realize that you are the only person who is putting so much effort in the relationship. The person doesn't care about you, the person doesn't call you often, the person doesn't do anything that engages you guys in the relationship. And so the moment you identify it as a one-sided, you should find means and ways to get rid of the relationship or get yourself out of the relationship, because with time you are only going to be hurt. And it is common to see people move on, especially when they travel to different countries where they know that they are not coming back anytime soon. Let's say some people intend staying there for 5 years, 6 years, or even 10 years. And some of them also, they go there and try to stay there, get documents to stay there, get married to a foreigner or something. So they think that once they've entered into another phase of life, they're supposed to move on. So they expect you to also move on. Some of them, they will not be bold enough to voice it out to you that, hey, move on or whatever. But their attitude should be able to tell you enough that, hey, I've moved on, so you should also move on. So the first thing is that make sure the relationship is not one-sided, because if it's one-sided, nothing I'm going to say would be able to work in that relationship. Now, you know, when you have identified that, yes, you know that, I mean, you love each other, but just that you are having certain hitches or problems in the relationship, and you both want to help yourself in the relationship, what you have to do is that you guys have to maintain the communication. Okay, I've seen a lot of people, even if it is not distant relationship, you all find yourself in the same locality or the same place, you're supposed to talk every day, because relationship is just about we knowing each other. And when you love someone, you shouldn't get fed up with the person's communication or communicating with the person. Even if you're not able to call the person every day, you should be able to text them every day. I don't remember a single time I never talked to my girlfriend for all the years that we dated and even got married. Almost every day we talk. And even if our phones are off because of other reasons, you have to ensure that we get someone's phone and then call the other party to find out or tell them the situation that I find myself in. That is what we mean by relationship. It means you want to have something with the person. But most people will want to use the excuse that I am busy, I am this, I'm that. So the relationship is not actually working because you people are not communicating. So in a distant relationship, remember that the only thing that keeps you alive is the communication, because when you cut the communication, you're not going to hear from people anymore. And in the olden days, when they didn't have so much technology, where they didn't have telephones, mobile phones, or whatever, they were communicating through letters. And it could take years or months before one letter comes in. And when the letter comes in, it gives assurance, or it tries to say so much about what has transpired over the years. So whenever you have this distant relationship, make sure you engage each other almost every day. Most people complain that it becomes a boring conversation. It becomes boring conversation because you do not bring up conversation. Sometimes whatever happens throughout your day, you should bring it into the conversation. Guys usually do not like to talk so much, so they do not want to bring up topics. But when you go out, when you travel, and when you go to certain places, you'll find certain problems. Whatever thing that came up, just bring as a topic. You guys talk about it, you laugh about it, and you move on. Women usually are very good when it comes to that one. They bring up topics, whatever went on during the day or whatever, and so you're able to talk. But the moment they talk so much, the guys do complain that you talk so much every time, whatever happens, you tell me. That is the only way to keep you guys alive if you really want something significant for yourselves. Another thing that you should focus on is that, you see, it's not just about being in a distant relationship and then just going to explore something. You should be able to set timelines. You know, let's say one person traveled from your locality to a different place. As you engage in the communication, you should set timelines that, oh, in the next 2 years, next 3 years, I'm supposed to come. You're supposed to get married. I'm supposed to come so that we do this. I mean, set timelines for each other and make sure you stick to those timelines. Because you cannot be keeping promises and then keeping the person in suspense. So when are you coming? So when are you coming? When are we seeing each other? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make it promising for the other party. You get it? Because at least the person is supposed to have hope. And the thing is that we've heard stories about people breaking up, people traveling, and then they broken up with others who they disappointing others. So definitely the person will have some sort of doubts in their heart. And so to keep or to prevent them from having those doubts about it, at least you should give them timelines. Giving them timelines does not really mean that you are definitely going to come, because when situation comes up or when problems come, because you talk often, you will definitely know that because of this 1 or 2 issues, the person cannot fulfill this promise. But most people make vague promises. They make outrageous promises that they are unable to keep. And so when you're in a distant relationship, to keep your hope alive, try to set timelines. Say, oh, by next year, I'm supposed to do this. After this, I'll come. And if time is in, just be able to come. Or even if you can't come, then you should arrange for the person to also join you over there, if the person is also willing to come, so that you rekindle that love and then that connection together. But if you don't set timelines, it will seem that the person is living in suspense or is just waiting for the ship at the airport or something, okay? And it's not healthy for that distant relationship. You will definitely break up. Now, it is also very, very important to engage in planning. You know, when you're in a distant relationship, something should bring you guys together. I mean, because of the disappointments people are giving to others, most people do not want to do anything significant together, like start a project or start something. In our relationship with my wife, we already had a project going on. So we couldn't wait to come together as a husband and wife, because we wanted to have that legality to be able to do those things, I mean, fully, without doubt or whatever. So when you are in a distant relationship and you're really serious about each other, try to start a project together. Try to, whether a building, whether an organization, whether something, try to start together, because that thing actually binds you guys together and always keep you guys alive. Because when you guys have nothing to lose in the relationship, that's where people end up doing whatever they want. But one thing that you should get in the relationship is that you should find somebody who is afraid to lose you or have something to lose in the relationship. Because when it becomes one-sided and only one person is invested in the relationship, it means the other person has nothing to lose. So they don't really care whether the relationship moves on or not. And so start planning about something, have a vision. This is what we want to do. Because nowadays, relationships have formed the basis of marriages. And relationships that are very successful end up in marriage, and the marriage becomes successful. So the respect and everything that you start in the relationship is what is transferred into the marriage so that you just move on, so that you don't waste time. Because most people who spend their relationship life fighting, quarrel, or whatever end up in marriage, and now they're about to start settling their problems before they start. But when you start things in the relationship, you end up building that foundation for yourself, and that when you get married, you just move at a supersonic speed so that you'll be able to achieve so much within the shortest possible time of your marriage. So planning is very good, and have something that brings you guys together. The last thing I'm going to talk about, which is very, very serious, because one thing that is obvious is that in distance relationship, there's so much watching of pornography. Okay, you know, those things usually, sometimes we have video calls, we have chats that are naughty or whatever just to keep us alive. And you know, the moment you start doing all those things, you know, you imaginalize those things so that whenever the person is not even there, you try to imagine those things. And if you're not strong enough, you will definitely cheat on your partner, because those imaginations keep happening in your mind and the person is not really close to you. Especially if you find yourself in a situation where you do not know when you are going to come back or you're going to come together with the person, then it becomes a very difficult thing, because there are no timelines, and then you cannot use that imagination on that person, say, oh, when I miss that person, then we are going to have this sort of happiness, romance, or whatever. Then you would definitely want to transfer those kind of things to another person by cheating, which end up bringing you guys apart. So one thing you've got to do is that quit pornography, if possible. If not, reduce it. Okay, if not, minimize it, because the more you keep watching, the more your relationship will tear apart, because you have so much imagination, and then you are not going to see the person sooner. But you just think about all those things, and then it gives you bad imagination, which is later on going to torment the relationship. You know, I've seen a lot of people who have succeeded in distance relationship, and the obvious is that they practice these or some other important things that help them overcome their problem. And so most people who are able to overcome the issues in distance relationship, when they come together, they are able to live very happily. And so let's see how best we can live together, because some of you know that the person you're dating is a very good person. They're going to be a very good partner, a suitable partner, a good person when you get married to the person. But because of these hitches and small issues, you just end up leaving the person, and then someone else come for the person, or you have your problems or whatsoever. That's why I decided to come and then talk about this so that you see how best you will be able to help yourself. So my name is Bright Obi. You can call me Love Dr. Obi. Find me on all social media handles. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please don't hesitate to hit on the subscribe button. I bring you amazing videos on relationships and life goals. So subscribe and you will never regret it. I'll see you in my next video. Stay blessed.